10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up?
What's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Knights of the Gimmick Table. I am LowRyda. We have
Lothbrok over here, man. Flying solo.
Yeah, Boogalou is MIA, but hopefully we'll hear from him today. First things first, we're gonna get started by paying some bills. So
yeah, man.
Hellvape.com. Hellvape sells healthy vaping alternatives. All their products are nicotine free and have no harmful or addictive chemicals. And make sure when you order some of these vape or pod products, use our code MWAPOD for a 10% discount.
And sleeves. Sleeves offer great quality products from arm sleeves, knee sleeves, headbands, tights, joggers, socks, and those dirty boxers. We all know King Mega likes those dirty boxers. And if you're going to purchase from Sleeves at sleeves.com, make sure to use the promo code MWAPOD over there as well.
All right. Yeah. Also, guys, check out storefrontier.com/MWA World, where you can get an awesome
Look at those
Knights of the Gimmick Table shirt.
Those are money.
Let me move that mic. Boom. Get that. Yeah. Pick up that. You can pick up your Killing the Business shirt with only Angel's name on it, but and you can pick up Piers Austin's shirt, Shooting the Shit. So make sure you guys go check it out. MWA World on storefrontier.com.
Definitely support. So what's going on, man? How you been?
Oh man, not much, dude. Oh, hold on, sorry. We also have follow us on Twitter and Instagram at MWA World, and subscribe to us on all podcast platforms in YouTube, MWA Podcast Network. Hit that bell, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Go out there and subscribe.
Twitch.tv/MWA World. That's the other place where you could be watching these shows.
All
and
right.
Subscribe to us on Twitch. Send us bits. Help us grow.
Damn straight. Tired of working a real job.
Yeah. Anything else going to pop up? No, probably not. Okay. Well, I'm going to say, let's just get this show started so we don't waste people's time, And we got a guest today. You know him pretty well, right?
I know him very well. He's one of my good friends. He is probably, in my opinion, and a few others, the #1 deathmatch wrestling referee. Dude's worked for all the major companies in deathmatch wrestling. Has been a part of deathmatch wrestling probably his entire career reffing. And he's one of the most, honestly, man, on the independent levels, it's very rare to find referees that are solid referees and know the business up and down, and that's him. And that's Nick Papagiorgio, man. Papa G, as they call him. There he is.
What's up?
The old man, guys.
How are you?
What's going on, buddy? How you
Thanks
been?
for joining us, man.
Oh, always my pleasure. No, I'm doing good. Just laying back. Same stuff, different day around here.
I hear you. So Yeah, man. I guess we'll start at the same old basic question everyone gives. It's how did you get into this crazy world of professional wrestling? What made you want to be a referee, not a wrestler? Tell us your story, man.
Oh, this is always a fun story. It was dating back to about maybe 2002. I went to my first CCW show. I think it was like KJF4. It was San Diego Lobo at the arena on there. No, just regular. We just wanted to see something else. We used to go to some ECW shows every now and then. So we wanted to see something. What took its spot, and we saw.
Was this at the arena or was this pre CCW arena?
No, this was actually it was about a year or two after ECW folded,
Okay.
and there wasn't really nothing working at the arena except for maybe like 3PW and like
Okay.
some maybe other like spot shows and stuff like that there. So we decided to get tickets to that. It had the same atmosphere as the ECW back in the day. That was my first experience of CCW, and then we're like, no, you know what? We could actually do this on like a monthly basis because I think they're just starting to run there on a monthly basis. I think they were over like a Champ Soccer Arena over in Sewell, New Jersey.
Okay.
At the time, give or take. So we started going there monthly. We were just getting regular GA tickets. It's just regular fans and stuff like that. And then we eventually somehow got bumped all the way up to like front row seats every month, which was kind of a rarity. But I guess people didn't decide not to go. They just wanted to bump us up, whatever. Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah,
No
I was
problem.
gonna say free bumps.
Yeah, exactly. So our seats got shifted over to behind the commissioner's table then. So I was actually there with Frank Talent, God rest his soul, and Dennis Shock, who was doing the ring announcing. So I just became friendly with them and stuff like that. We're just bullshit was they were sitting right in front of me, and they needed a random timekeeper for a show. I think this is now we're like circa 2004, 2005. So I started doing the timekeeping, starting at KJF 6. So it's kind of weird how randomly just start like that. 2 years ago I was sitting in the crowd watching, and now I'm on the other side of the barricade on there, just doing timekeeping. I wasn't doing much, after that. Ever since that, I'm like, I've always wanted to be a referee because I was never a big guy or anything like that. As Kate can find out.
That doesn't matter nowadays.
No. Yeah, as you can see, what's on TV. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What
was the first match you
Austin's pumped up for this, man.
Well, the boss is pumped, Nick Papagiorgio. You got the boss popping.
That's nothing wrong
there
with that.
Go. Bills are paid. We're good.
Bring the ratings in somehow.
There you go. What was your first match was CCW the first company you ref for?
Yeah, that was the first one I officiated for. I was doing some other spot stuff, like some of their student shows every now and then. But as far as the first CCW refereeing on there, I was kind of thrown to the wolves. Actually, I was like one of the random tournament of deaths in Smyrna, Delaware. Actually,
LowRyda, Louis did a TO. He did a TOD, right?
No, we did. I can't remember what the fuck we did. My brother wants to know how old were you when you got started?
Well, I just turned 40, so I was around like 24, give or take, 24, okay. 25.
I'm trying to remember. I know we did like a Frightland deathmatch show or some shit that they had.
Oh God, Frightland in Delaware.
Yeah, in Delaware. We did the night before that. We did the arena. I don't really remember. It's been so fucking long. But I don't know if Louis. I know Louis did shit on his own with where he went there a couple times.
Yeah, I thought Louis did TOD. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I could have sworn. But
I don't fucking remember. I barely remember yesterday.
So how long were you working for the Zandig regime before everyone's favorite bought the company and took over?
Oh God. It was from that Tournament of Death until I think when a DJ by the company 2009. So it was about 4 years, give or take. I was working with John, but like John wasn't at every show. Like he was mostly like everybody else is like booking on the fly, and he would just like randomly show up then every now and then.
Yeah, I heard towards the end from a lot of people like Zandy kind of turned into like what Paul Heyman was. Like he would just randomly pop in and like the boys were booking, their own shit, mate, basically.
Yeah, and like you can watch it on DVD, 2007, 2008. I'm like, it's kind of a dark age, so to speak. There, I'm like, it was just like it was the shits, back then.
Yeah. But who I mean what death matches of the Zandig era like stand out in your mind of like I mean obviously I'm sure Nikki's gonna pop up in there, but like you were in there with Mox and all of them too, right? Like you were there on the ground floor with those guys?
I was in there, yeah. Well, actually my first actual death match was with Drake Younger versus JC Bailey in a Panes of Glass match on there. I did a random Devin Moore, Drew Blood versus Drake and Nick Gage match too. I think almost in that same year. So kind of just like thrown right to the wolves with everything as far as death matches go with everything.
I mean, those names you just listed, dude. I mean,
yeah,
that's just like legacy in deathmatch wrestling. It's crazy when you think about it because I know. I'm sure at the time you were like, none of these guys are. Whatever. Louis just said Lobo was a beast. I never had the pleasure of meeting Lobo. And LowRyda, I'm sure you've met Lobo once or twice, right?
I don't remember, bro. Bro, my time I only did 2 shows there. The first day me and Louis worked against Nick Gage and his brother.
Yeah.
And then the following how you doing, Kevin Davis? I don't know. We okay? Okay. I guess we're okay.
Am I missing something?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
But what the fuck? Oh, and then the following day we wrestled Necro and Danny Havoc.
God. Yeah, I remember these actual 2 shows too. I was doing timekeeping at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that tag team title tournament, the first show. And then we went down to Delaware.
I think we were supposed to be with I think we were with Kingston, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Louis can chime in if he remembers. But I believe we were supposed to be brought in with Kingston because he was beefing with the Hate Club, right? That's what Nick
I think it was at the Blackout Hate Club at the time.
Yeah. So we were brought in for that, and then we did those 2 shows. And I'm trying to remember the kid that helped us, that brought us over there. His name was like Dino. I don't know if you remember him. He was like a young kid he always used to come to shows in Queens with ICW and stuff, and that was how we met him. And he started doing shit with CZW, and that was what made us. Yeah, we were with Kingston. So yeah, I don't really fucking remember, honestly. Like for me, I was never into doing the deathmatch shit and that whole that whole shit with Necro wanting to throw the chairs on us and shit. My brother was like, yeah, let's do that shit. I was like, fuck that. But it was cool, like it was cool working with Nick Gage and his brother. They were both cool,
Yeah.
And then obviously I enjoyed working Necro and Danny Havoc, but like Danny wanted to do light tube spots. I'm like, listen, bro, they ain't paying me enough for this shit. Like, I wrestled with a hoodie on. I was like, yeah.
Oh, it was freezing. It was freezing that day.
Yeah, it was cold, and then there was glass all in the fucking ring. I was like, yeah, I'm not taking my hoodie off.
I'm not bumping this.
If you watch the video, I'm like kicking all the fucking glass that I see out of the ring before the match.
Like, what that bump part's falling that day, that's for sure.
There you go. So while you were there during the Zandig era, I mean, Callahan and Moxley, did you know even Drake? Like, were you like, wow, these guys are definitely going to be like the next generation? The guys signed. Like, I mean, you look at Moxley. I'm sure not a lot of people would say like he could do it, but I'm sure a lot of people didn't assume because of what he was doing and the stigma that a deathmatch guy had on them.
You kind of knew they were all going to make it one way or the other, especially Moxley, just because he had the build, not knocking, Drake and Sammy or anything like that. But Mox had to build. Was he like 6'1" or something like that? 6'2",
Yeah,
and like,
like back in the day, like there was that stigma about deathmatch. I mean, even
death
still
matches
today,
weren't gonna
you
it's
make
still
like-
get it now.
yeah, exactly. If anyone was going to make it, it obviously would have been Mox. I think everyone would put the money on him. But
Yeah.
there was always that asterisk of like, is a deathmatch guy going to get signed because of what he has done?
Of
And I
course.
mean, now I think it's different. I don't think it really matters as much. But I'm just wondering, like back then, did you not? I mean, obviously, you would probably be like, yeah, of course he could do it. But did you think it was going to happen?
It was almost like a coin toss, really. It's just like, he had the look and all that stuff, but I'm like, like you said, I'm like,
everybody had like a stain when they did those matches.
You kind of work CZW. You're like, it's like, you do that death match stuff. That's kind of the way they looked at it back then. Like what Kate said, it's kind of the same way now with everything. I'm like, it's kind of like it's frowned upon, but I'm like, you see what companies like GCW, H2O, companies like that, they do the death matches, but they also have the technical wrestling too on top of that. So they're doing it the right way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, because you get your niche fans in there, and then you also get the people that just love wrestling. So
death matches they're not going to go away. And like people think it's like, these guys can't keep it up or anything like that. I'm like, it's always the saying in wrestling, like next man up. Who's going to take the spotlight?
Yeah,
then if somebody gets signed or anything like that, it's always next person up.
You'll always find some really good workers end up going that route.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at a guy.
I'm getting pointed over.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'll take myself out of it. I mean, you look at a guy like Masada, who I think is, I'll put Masada as, I know a lot of people will say Alex or Nikki or Matt, but I mean, to me, Masada is in my opinion, it's like in terms of modern age deathmatch wrestlers, Masada to me is the Barry, the Babe Ruth, if you will. He kind of like, to me, reinvented what a deathmatch wrestler is in terms of, instead of just being smash and crash, he actually wrestled, and I'll always give him that credit. I love, as well as anyone, dude, Maddie, Raver, and Alex, we're all friends, but I give, Masada's the guy for me. And I think the stuff he was doing, he was there during the Zandig era, right? Just on the end of it?
He was, I think he actually was on maybe the tail end, but I don't think he actually encountered John. I think it was actually once DJ started with the company.
Well, we'll get into the DJ era. So I'm assuming when you were reffing, I'm guessing Lauderdale was around reffing as well?
When I was there in the Zandig era, was actually me. Brian Logan was in and out.
Okay.
Derek Sabata was there.
So who would be like? I mean, now any company you work for, you're the senior referee. I'll give you something. You're the senior referee. So at that time, like, who would be the senior referee? Like, because honestly, when I think of CZW and referees, I mean, it's you or Lauderdale. That's the only two that ever come to my mind. If somebody said CZW, name a referee, it's either you or Lauderdale, and more times I tend to be you. So who would be the senior referee before you got that position?
It was actually Brian Logan.
Okay.
He was kind of in and out because he actually was dealing with a back injury on there, so he was kind of like almost. It wasn't flaky or anything like that. It was just dealing with an injury, so he's there every other couple shows. Then they kind of just brought that's where Sabata was coming in. There was a couple other D. Edwards. You might see him on Monday Night Raw as Derek Moore. He's the one African American. The one African American referee. That's.
I didn't know that. Wow. Oh shit.
Yeah, he was there.
Wow.
Who was the? I remember the ref our match when we did that the Frightland death match one. It was like a black kid with some dreads.
Yeah, that was him.
That's
him.
him.
That's him. Yeah, it's scary.
No shit. Fuck, I didn't even know that. I
Yeah,
was wondering if he was still reffing. So
yeah,
there
you go.
Congrats. That's awesome.
So Zandig, obviously everyone knows. I mean, we're not going to beat a dead horse. Zandig sells the DJ. DJ mortgages his grandmother's house, or whatever the fucking deal is. I mean, I'm sure me and you have had this conversation amongst the 5,000 other times we've bashed. Listen, I'll say it. I love DJ to death. not the best business owner, but I do love DJ as a person. He's never done wrong by me. Personally, never done wrong by me. Professional, that's a different story.
Yeah, of course.
But what were your thoughts when you heard that DJ's buying the company? Because I'm sure the rumors were rampant about. I heard so many different people were going to buy CZW. I remember one time, I think DJ bought it, what, 07, 08, right?
Somewhere around there, maybe the end of 08.
Yeah,
didn't do anything until 09. Yeah,
like I started training in 04, and I mean, I wasn't a CZW fan before I got into wrestling, but I remember when it was selling, like people were like, Ring of Honor bought it, Paul Heyman bought it. There was all these wild rumors, and then it turned out it was DJ. And like, what were your thoughts? Because I've heard them from everybody and their opinions, and I never really, if I've asked you, I don't remember. But for the sake of the podcast, I'm going to ask you.
We actually were going when he actually first bought it. Nobody knew. All we knew was the company was sold. We were all brought to ringside then for like an opening promo of the show. John was out there. He was out there with I think Maven and DJ and all that stuff. Tito Santana bought it. I wish. It probably would have got that. We were all brought out there, and we actually all thought it was a work. Like nobody thought this was 100% shoot or anything like that. And then when he actually gave him the plaque with saying that he now owns the company, we're like, what?
I heard there was people that were like, "Fuck this, I'm out immediately."
Yeah, there were actually people that came out from the backstage area and actually just like literally just grabbed their bags and left.
Wow.
I'm like,
how'd you feel about it?
I didn't mind it, I guess, because I guess I still had a job regardless, unless he was going to clean house. But, at the time, I'm like, who are you going to replace people with?
True.
Yeah.
Kind of just stuck with what you got. And like, that's where he just started doing his own, his own vision of the company then.
Yeah, I mean, so we could go down that road about what are you look, I mean, everyone's got their opinions on DJ. I know, like I said, we've talked about it, but for the sake of the podcast, like, what are your thoughts on DJ as a person, as a promoter, as a wrestler? Just in general. I'm not, we're not asking you to bash anybody. If you want to, by all means, we're not going to stop you. But just tell the truth, man. Open and honest. That's all we care about.
No, like literally what you said. I'm like, personally, he never did me wrong, on a personal level. Professionally, I'm like, yeah, has he done questionable business, deals that probably should never have happened? Of course, what business guy hasn't?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, then you see how, whatever, all the other stuff that's happened with the company lately and stuff like that. It's wrestling. It's like probably the easiest thing I could say. I'm like, there's not one like, when it comes to like ownership, I'm like, you're going to find there's always going to be an owner that's always going to have, a shady background or something like that.
Of course. Yeah.
But he's always paid me on time.
If they didn't, they're gonna find a way to start doing some shady shit.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's down the line. He actually eventually did then too. On top of that, but I'm like pay wise, I'm like I never got stiffed by him. I'm like
that's most important.
I can agree. He paid me anything. I think like the cool thing, the thing with DJ, like we'll agree. I think it's like people just jump on the the fuck DJ bandwagon and make fun of him, and it's just at this point it's just tiresome. So I mean, as far as working for CZW and reffing for CZW, are there any death matches that stand out in your mind that you remember as like, holy fuck, like this has gone too far, this has gone like, or anything that you're like, like, I mean, I'm sure you were there when Nick Gage died
yes.
So like, tell us about that. Like, like, are there anything in your opinion where, because we can get into it later, but like, has anything gotten to the point where you were like, this is just too far? Like, we've reached the point where like, guys, scale it back. Because I think there is a lot of levels now that need to be scaled back with certain things.
Yeah, I think the one that stands out was actually it was an opening round match. It was actually DJ versus Thumbtack Jack on there. First, remember, keyword. I'm like, I know, Kate, you work TOD. I'm like, you know how it is. First round matches are usually supposed to be your easiest match. Well, this match went like 20 minutes on there it was just ungodly, just like a bloodbath, and then, it's, glass all over the place. I think DJ powerbombed Jack through a flaming pane on top of that. It wasn't even the finish. It was actually when DJ got the cinder block right on his head and all saw white stars after that, which is 100% shoot on there. He just saw stars on there after that. Thank God was the finish.
Those cinder blocks are no fucking joke.
No, yeah, it's your favorite weapon on there. I know that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Great idea.
I've been in there enough with you with them.
Fuck.
But
was that the TOD that didn't count? Like, wasn't there a TOD that counted but didn't count and they redid it or some shit?
That was the one I think where Nikki actually got hurt.
Okay.
That was the one where it was just like, they were tending to him in the back. And then
that's the one that they had to fucking airlift him out, right?
Yeah, because the scary thing about it was too at the airlift. Some people may not know this actually. Since it was on DJ's parents' farm, it's actually a half mile up the road, and then you get to the farm area off the main road. Well, the ambulance refused to go up the road on there, so that cost them even more time, God forbid. And then they actually finally got the helicopter and medevaced them out to the wherever the hospital was in Delaware.
Yeah, that was a crazy fucking video.
Yeah, God. I wasn't in the ring for it. I was on the outside. Lauderdale had the honors of officiating that match, and right then there I was maybe 3-4 minutes into the match. Just a basic Irish whip, but it was the wrong size leg boots.
Well, I mean, look what happened with Raver and Jimmy Lloyd and that shit. It's a freak thing.
Now, like when something like that, like have you ever been in a match where you feel like something was ever some like shit had gone too far and you felt like you felt the need, like, we gotta get help out here and shit?
There was it wasn't a TOD. It was actually just a regular match. It was Drake versus B-Boy for the CCW title on there, and B-Boy got busted open hard way, and it was right on the side of his temple on there, and it was just the whole side of his face was just red on there. And I remember Drake was actually whispering to me, he's like, yeah, get a towel somehow. I'm like trying to find security. I'm like, dude, we need a damn towel. I'm like, we need to, somehow clot this up. Of course, wrestler mindset on there. He still wrestled 20 minutes, after that.
Was it worse than Ricky? I think it was Ricky and Matt.
Oh God,
with the eye, right?
That was with the eye. That was just off a random clothesline. I think that Ricky wanted to flip for,
and he got cut on a piece of glass.
And he just got cut on a piece of glass, just flipping over from the clothesline. And luckily I think in that match that they had like one spot left, thank God, and he just went with the finish.
And then, what about I think it was Scotty Vortex and I want to say Drake, where they used
oh God, the tempered glass.
But no, it was not tempered. Was it tempered? They used pane, right? Pane glass.
It was like a double pane or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and I heard that got pretty fucking.
That was a mess, and that was actually it was one of the tangled webs where they used the second ring as a circus style trampoline barbed wire web on there, like you see in like Big Japan, it's like that.
Yeah.
They used the whole ring was just the trampoline. I think they had glass over top of it or underneath it, and it was just a mess after that.
Look, man, you've been doing this for what, 16 years, something like that?
15 actually. Yeah.
15, and I mean mostly it's been death matches. I mean, what are your thoughts on deathmatch wrestling and like the level it has gotten? Because obviously it's evolved where light tubes used to be a big deal, and now you watch some of these death matches and a light tube is like a drop kick, and I hate to say it, but I mean, like, we've all been around long enough. I mean, I know, I've done many of death matches. You've reffed them. LowRyda gets a thumbtack in the foot and he's done for a week.
Hey, I think it was, I don't remember if it was Psycho Circus, but there was a match that we had, right? And I got hit in the arm with a fucking keyboard that had thumbtacks going to it, right?
Yeah.
And the fucking thumbtack hits me right here in the fucking elbow, right? And I was just like, it was what it was. Like, it was, I looked down and I'm just like, and then like 2 seconds later, my elbow was like fucking this big, bro. Like And I'm
Jesus
like,
Christ.
I look at Louis. I'm like, bro. He's like, what's up? I'm like, what the fuck is this? And he looks down. He's like, oh, it's just an air bubble. You'll be fine. I'm like, fuck. But yeah,
Jesus
bro. Like,
Christ, screw that.
it might
That's
have been
enough. I've had them in my
sexual
hand before. They suck.
shit like that. I was always like, fuck, man. And
when
like,
you ref a snuff film. So, like, yeah,
My
like I said, like,
career.
yeah. What are you like? I mean, what are your thoughts on? Because I got my opinions. I know I've had conversation with Matt and Raver, and all the guys about, like, like I think when I Pigeon Spikes kind of put to the point where I'm like, all right, I think we're getting to a point where there's no return. I mean, obviously the box cutter with Spider Boudreaux and John Rare, but that's not every time. But
we don't classify that as deathmatch.
Exactly. But I thought gusset plates were going to be like the kind of the iceberg.
Vicious too, man. Fuck.
Yeah, but those fucking Pigeon Spikes, man. When I saw Marcus start bringing those around, I was like, I don't know, man.
Did you see that video that we sent the other day with the fucking?
Oh yeah,
with the fucking.
It was
angle grinder.
It was John Rare. It was a fucking grinder. He took it to the wrist.
An
I don't know
angle
if you
grinder.
saw that. I'll send you it after this is done, dude. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, look, obviously, the Midwest, there's some questionable things happening.
Yeah, the syringes are fucking crazy too.
Yeah, I've been in there with them before.
What do you? I mean, I've heard of. I mean, we've heard of guys wanting to get their pinkies cut off or the tip of it or whatever. What are your thoughts?
What about getting people's thumbs cut off? But that's the different kind of.
That you guys sleep with a promoter's girlfriend to have that done.
That's a whole different ball game.
Yeah. Hey,
allegedly, all right. Allegedly,
he works up in New York now, so that's you guys now. So
he's going to California, brother. He's got Mr. Pogo and fucking Vic Grimes are back.
Yeah, I seen that today.
Mr. Pogo's deceased.
No, he's
not Mr. Pogo. The clown, Pogo the clown.
Pogo
My bad.
Jesus Christ!
I don't know, man.
Let's not speak of ill the dead here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to smirch the legendary name. I just saw it like literally 5 minutes before we got on.
Yeah,
God. Yeah, I guess he got kicked out of Rochester.
I don't
know. I have no idea.
I don't know.
Don't waver on that one.
I've had a conversation with him. He's a nice guy. Hey, look, man. If he's paying the boys, I'm all for it. We talk business, so I'm not going to knock someone I may be getting money from in the future.
No, I mean, I'm good to go.
When we worked with him, Rob's fucking super cool with us, But didn't see anything wrong with that. But I wasn't trying to bang his girl either.
So what are your thoughts on, I guess, the evolution of deathmatch wrestling and where it's at now?
I think it's almost they see like what Japan is doing, like what's hot in Japan.
Exactly. He was great with us
on there. You see what's going on in there. They saw. I don't know if they were working with gussets. I think Masada was using gussets. I think maybe once or twice in Japan, and then he brought them over to the U.S. On there, and then you see them. They're all over the place now. I think it's almost they kind of just see what Japan's doing because Japan's like. You see what Big Japan was doing back then. You see what FMW was doing, the original FMW and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, this stuff comes over to us on there, and then we kind of escalate it, and then Japan steals it back. It's almost like going back and forth with fighting with Japan with the evolution of weaponry, so to speak.
Yeah, no, I agree. And speaking of Japan, now I don't know if I'm right. But did you ref the first Onita mat match?
I did the first two Onita matches, the two that were in CCW.
How was that for you in terms of just obviously the first one?
The first one was the most nerve wracking one ever because I actually did not even know what was going on in the match. I actually had to talk to.
I don't even think Matt knew what was going on in the match.
No, I had to talk to. I had to talk to Danny Havoc actually on because he was the one taking the finish. When it turned into the 6-man on there, I'm like, what are we doing? Because Onita was locked up in his. Yeah, Onita was in his locker room. You don't bother him on there or anything like that.
Yeah, you had to get called into the locker room. I remember me and Raver got called in because we work his boys, and it was like,
I tried.
It was like, do you understand what kind of honor this is? I was like, just can you pay me, please? Like, I was just like so tired.
This
Like,
is
dude,
show over
I'm
yet.
like, yeah, I would get great honor, but
The
yeah.
the honors to work him, not to fucking work his boys. Like
I mean,
don't
look,
know
we stole the fucking show that night. Besides, obviously, Matt and Onita, but
Yeah.
I mean, for you, like, I mean, to be in there with Onita, his first United States wrestling match in like 30, whatever it was.
30-some years, yeah.
I
Something
mean,
like
that one, it's got to be an honor that you were chosen, and you got to feel somewhat like, holy fuck, like this is a history-making moment that you're a part of.
Yeah, the part that I was chosen for is I actually put my name on the run sheet next to the match. On there.
You're supposed to make it seem like there's something more to it to make the story sound better.
Let's build it. Let's build it up, and I'll bring it right
Yeah,
back.
you know, come on, man, build it up something. Make it seem like you're fucking important.
No, it was like it was actually because you know what? Like I was a big video game nut back when I was growing up. I used to play Fire Pro Wrestling, and like Onita was in the game and stuff like that too. So you got to do the explosion matches and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. I'm like, holy shit, I'm actually in the ring with this guy now. I'm like 30-some years later. I'm like, it's just it was just a weird, like surreal feeling. Because you're kind of looking around because the only people that were in the ring with me was Emil and then Matt. And you're just looking around. I'm like, it's kind of just a surreal moment. I'm like, time to like kind of stood still, so to speak.
You weren't the ref for the baseball field?
No, that was actually Mike Keener. I actually had
okay.
I was at that
Is
show.
Stockade supposed to be Glenn? Is that what's going on right now?
I don't know. I didn't catch it.
I had a mental health breakdown that weekend.
Oh Jesus!
Hey, mental health's real, dude. So
no, it is definitely, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was up in the all the way up in the bleachers watching that. I wanted to watch it live.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my own thoughts on it. Watching one of my good friends get fucking turned into a goddamn fucking barbecue spare rib wasn't cool.
Yeah. No.
I don't know, man. Like, I know it was history making, or whatever. There was a part of me that I was just like, hey, man, I got busy, dude. Listen, I got an old lady I got to take care of, Angel. All right, I'm sorry, she wasn't having it. But what did you think, man? Like, I mean, it was cool to be a part of it, but there was a part of me that was like, this. I don't know. I had one of those like surreal moments, like what the fuck am I watching?
What ended up happening in that match?
Basically, Matt got just like barbecued on there.
They fucking did a fire spot.
There was
yeah.
fire spots actually.
And from what it looked like, and I've never really talked to Matt about it. I mean, maybe Papa G, you can kind of I don't know, maybe you heard differently, but I heard there was a point where Matt was like, put the fucking fire out. And Onita was just kind of like in old crazy man mode and just kept dumping more gasoline and shit.
Gasoline? What the fuck?
Or I don't know, or lighter fluid, whatever it was, but
that was kerosene on that one.
Kerosene.
Yeah, that was even worse.
I know it was the initial flare up on the floor that did it, right? Or what?
He had, I think it was the barbed wire board in the ring.
Okay.
And he was actually it was lighting on fire. But I don't think he got enough flame out of it. I think it went out too quick, maybe. On there too. I'm like, mind you, this is also Halloween, so I don't know. There was like a random burst of wind. It is October out in the middle of Jersey and stuff like that.
You'll get some.
And he just said, and if you actually watch it on IWTV, you watch it back, and you just see him just dump a bucket of like just kerosene on there, and it just engulfs on there.
It was a surreal moment. It was terrible. It was one of those things where I was just like, I'm like, I don't know. I just felt like Matt, again, Matt's, the dude will die on his shield, and we'll get into H2O, but I don't know, man. I think there's a point where I was like, dude, enough. But speaking of H2O, so H2O kind of started as Matt's little side project, and it grew into what it is now, and in my opinion, I think H2O is like, obviously, GCW is the mecca right now. I'll put H2O right there, maybe a foot below it in terms of talent-wise, because you get a lot of the same guys.
Yeah.
I think H2O has them on young, up-and-coming talent. Obviously, Matt is doing a hell of a job. But we were all doing both. We were doing CCW and H2O, but look, me and Raver left H2O. I mean, CCW. We had our deal is thing. What was your final? Where were you just like, all right, I'm out, I'm done? And then when did you basically become the official like you're basically an H2O guy now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
So-
It was kind of right where the pandemic started. We had the it was the anniversary show, February 2020. Was the last show that I was actually there for CGW. It was whatever their anniversary show was. It was Masada versus Casanova Valentine in a no barbed wire match was the main event. So that was actually on record right now. It was actually my last CGW match I've ever officiated on there. Obviously, the pandemic happened on there, so it kind of just null and voided wrestling.
Make it easy to be the last match that you ref there, right?
Hey, rather be in the ring with the two of them at least. Thank God.
Hey, not bad to be in there with Masada.
No,
So
not by any means.
you started reffing for H2O. Like I said, it was Matt's little side project. They basically wrestle and hang out with his friends, and it grew into something that's pretty fucking cool. I mean, if you would have asked me like at the start of it, would we have ever left? When we were at the CGW school, which held like 20 people, and now he's in Atlantic City baseball stadiums. But as far as I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that was your first time doing something other than refereeing, right? You became the manager of WTF, White Trash Forever.
I was actually their personal referee at the time.
Okay.
On there, so that was my first time. I was actually just branched off doing something off to the side. It was kind of my idea to a certain extent, because Matt was actually having an issue of figuring out a finish for a match. I think whatever was it, that cage match? I think it was. I know you wrestled on local that show, I think.
Yeah, that was Louis, right? You guys screwed Louis.
Yeah,
over.
I screwed Louis, Mitch, and Cannonball actually out of their titles.
Who's Louis? Low Life Louis?
Low Life Louis.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
On there. So yeah, he hasn't shanked me yet, so he still owes me that. I know that.
He ain't gonna shank you. He's gonna try to fuck you with a dildo.
One of these here, yeah, exactly. I'd rather have that.
Sidetrack. LowRyda, what your Doghouse guy, you and your brother, what is Louis' obsession with
we're Gleason's guys.
I'm sorry, Gleason's.
We did train at the Doghouse.
What is listen, Bronx, Queens is all the fucking same.
Brooklyn, but yeah, I hear the feedback too.
What is I wrestled Benny. What is Louis' obsession with dildos?
Dude, he started, I think when he started that shit, it was just for a fucking pop, and the fucking heat it got. I think I know. I want to say we asked him about it. He even did a fucking spot with his son with a dildo. It's crazy as fuck, man.
I can see you're doing that.
He's nuts, you know what I'm saying? But it was for a fucking pop, and it worked. I remember he fucking did a spot after that whole I can't remember the dude's name, but he did a spot after that whole issue where the police allegedly put a plunger up the dude's ass, and he wrestled a match with a plunger hanging out of his ass.
So, Papa G, what are your thoughts on the infamous Low Life Louis? I mean, Louis is one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Oh, Louis, they like he's basically like the freaking locker room leader when he's there. I'm like, it's like Louis got his own little area in the locker room and stuff like that. And I'm not saying he's he's barred off from everybody. I'm like, it's just his own little section where he keeps everything at and stuff like that. I'm like, no, Louis always been great. I'm like, I've never had any kind of issues.
One of the nice fucking guys.
Oh, without a doubt, exactly. One of the nicest guys in the business. It's
So you like I said, you were the referee for White Trash Forever, which was Ron Mathis, and I always forget the other two guys.
Bruce Gray and Tyler Vox.
Okay, and then when did you get away from reffing for a little bit, and you were a manager, right? Of some sort?
I was kind of a little bit of both. Like when I wasn't officiating, I was kind of like their low level stooge, so to speak. So I was basically all the whatever heat that they got was basically just bouncing off onto me too. On top of that, so
okay,
thank God for that.
And now you're back to refereeing.
Yeah, back to normal.
Back to normal. Drawing the house for Matt. So what are your thoughts on H2O?
It's like I said, I'm like, Matt tells it all the time. I'm like, don't sleep on the company. It's one of the. It's been around. What are we going to 6 years? I think this year. I think something like that. I can't believe
somewhere
in that vicinity. 6 years ago, like you said, I'm like, it was just a side project for him, and now look what it has. I'm like, it's probably got the best training school in the area.
We're not talking about Boogaloo. We're talking about another guy, Low Life Louie.
Thank God.
You have to actually, the fact that you have to clarify that makes me question some things, but
That's
that's another
wrestling.
story for another day. So, I mean, look, man, you've been reffing for
too long.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
any matches, death matches that we haven't discussed, or any matches in general that your personal favorites, or anything that stands out in your mind that like you will remember, or like you're like, wow, I was a part of this, or I got the ref, John Moxley, whatever, anything that really like are like some of your favorites.
Like I refereed like a lot of non-death matches because I used to work in Chikara too off the side.
I didn't know that. So Quackenbush, he's a strange human being, is he not?
He's very unique. Yes.
What all promotions have you roughed at?
It was CZW and Chikara is kind of where I started, because the schools with CZW and Chikara when I started were actually together, and then they actually kind of broke apart, and they did their own separate things after that. Those are the two that I was kind of always at, and then obviously I would kind of just do your other like shindy type local show, on there, like anything that was kind of in the area.
Payday, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're probably the best paid. He's really out there, to be honest with you, on there. But I would travel with some of the guys. They'd go down to Maryland for like EWA or like MCW. On there, I've worked with MCW every now and then too, off the side with Mike Keener and stuff like that. I'd go up to like when Chikara was traveling, we do like the New England loop, stuff like that. We hit up like Manhattan and Brooklyn and stuff like that around your guys' neck of the woods, on there. But and then kind of I just branched out. Once Chikara closed, CZW took their sabbatical and stuff like that. I just kind of stayed with H2O, and that was it.
As being one of the boys in the locker room, do you have any ever have any issues with other referees? Or I'm sure you've had issues with wrestlers, but like any issues with referees or any beefs or anyone you don't want to share locker rooms with? Any lovely drama that it causes this business?
There was one actual incident with a referee I had on there. It was actually kind of funny.
Do I know? Is this who I'm thinking it is?
You might know what the story I tell you, but I'm not going to name drop him. I don't really like name dropping.
Wow.
Does this involve women wrestlers?
No, it's not him.
Oh, okay.
It's not that piece of shit. No, not.
Now you got to say names.
Yeah, well, that was Spanky. Yeah,
there we go.
That's Spanky 123. Yeah, he's the shits. And he knows it. I blocked him all on my social media, so it doesn't really matter. So he can't get a hold of me any now and then anyway. But there was actually one referee was actually, I believe it was Louis' benefit show when Louis got hurt.
I was here for this.
You were probably there for the show, yeah. I think he had broken ribs or something like that. We did a benefit show for him. Well, the co-main event was Cannibal, Tremont, and New Jack.
Yes.
On there, that was a semi-main event. I was booked in the main event because B-Boy actually wanted me to ref his match because he was working Tony Deppen in the main event. Well, the other referee was actually booked before me, obviously. He's like, hey Nick, I'm like, oh, what's up? It's like, do you mind switching matches? I'm like, why? What's wrong? He's like, I'm just scared of New Jack. I'm like, what do you mean you're scared of New Jack? So I just seen what he does to other people, and I don't want him doing that to me. I'm like, he's not going to do that to you, dude. I'm like, the match is 8 to 10 minutes. He comes in the middle of the match and does his shtick, and that's it.
You come out, hit some motherfuckers with a couple objects, and
2 minutes later, and he's gone.
And that's literally all it was.
Music will be playing.
And I'm like, I told B-Boy, I'm like, dude, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I gotta work the match up for you. I gotta switch referees and stuff like that. I don't want to, I kind of felt bad because Benny lives all the way out in Cali and stuff like that, and he was just happened to be just in the area still, on there. And I'm like, yeah, it's just like, he's like, oh, why do you gotta switch? I'm like, oh, the referee's scared to work with New Jack. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I'm like, so I worked the match. The match was literally 8 minutes, not even. it was just Cannonball and Tremont working each other for like the first like 3 to 4, and then New Jack's music hits. Typical ECW stuff. A match went another 4 minutes, if that. New Jack went over. Not a hard concept to figure out.
Easy payday.
It's not like there's there's false finishes galore in any of his matches.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It was, he hits a drive-by and that's it. There's your pinball. Yeah. That's it.
And then, any of the boys ever been a dick to you, or anyone in the locker room, like worker-wise, you never wanted to deal with or deal with again?
No, wasn't really anyone being a dick. I'm like, I was actually in Chikara one time. I was working with a Dragon Gate team versus a Osaka Pro team, the King of Trios one time. And, the guy didn't kick out. He had a late kick out, and I counted 3. And they started, typical, Japanese fashion. They started still working because it was like, well, we have our spots still. I'm like, no, I counted 3. You didn't kick out. Over. Oh, well, on there. Good promoter will back you up on there. That was actually Quack. Quack came up to me. He's like, oh, what happened? I'm like, such and such didn't kick out. He's like, it's like the Osaka Pro guys go over. He's like, yeah. He's like, well, I don't care. That's who I wanted over. So the right people went over anyway. So, and he didn't care on there. I actually had Tozawa had to calm me down because the guys were like talking Japanese to me and like getting really pissed off and stuff like that. So Tozawa was actually the translator for all of us on there. So it's like, we all sat down, they came up to me like an hour later and apologized and stuff like that. But that was kind of like my only really bad interaction with somebody, backstage or even in the ring, so to speak. As scary as that may sound, 15 years.
That's pretty cool, man.
That's a testament to your professionalism.
On there, I try.
I was gonna say, because I know I've had times where it's like, man, I want to fucking kill a ref because there's some refs that just want to do their fucking, their own fucking thing, try and make shit about themselves,
Mm-hmm.
So speak on that. So, like, what in your opinion, makes a good referee, compared to like a bad referee on the indies? Like, what would you give pointers to some young kid that wants to get in?
Stay the hell out of the way. It's kind of like the one good thing, just don't be seeing them. Like a good referee, you don't see them, you don't notice them. That's kind of like the old adjective that I got, growing up in the business. As long as you stay out of the way, do what you're supposed to do, you're good to go. But they're like up and coming kids and stuff like that, find a school. Find a reputable school. Don't be that, when we were growing up and stuff like that, backyarding was hot. But like, there's so many schools here we are, nowadays that are reputable and that you can go to, and
make sure you go to a legit school, though. Don't go to just some fucking jackass that doesn't, know what the fuck they're doing.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever get to work shows or meet Ref Hansen back in the day?
I know of him. I think I was actually doing timekeeping on the side still when I saw him on there. I was actually, I think I saw him at one random Jersey All Pro show that was at the arena. I think they were piggybacking off of Cage of Death on there. They're kind of working together.
Yeah, he's like one of those infamous indie Northeast referees that you always heard about.
Back in that era, when I started out, it was always him. You didn't really hear about the Ray.
He was booked everywhere.
Yeah,
exactly. He was a wild one too, man. Like his takes on wrestling. Like I remember sharing car rides with him sometimes when I was like just starting, and it was like, wow, this dude is another animal.
Yeah.
So like, you've been around long. There are a couple stories. I don't know if maybe you could tell me if they were true or not. Being friends with Eddie Kingston like I am, I did hear once of a story of him breaking a door that wasn't supposed to be broken in a CZW locker room, I believe at the arena, and him throwing his I believe it was dollar by dollar into the DJ. Were you there for that?
I was actually there, and I think once Kingston did it too. I think Brain Damage broke a door too on there, and the DJ tried getting in Marvin's face. God rest his soul on there. I'm like, yeah, you don't get in front of Brain Damage's face like that. I'm like, don't just one punch and cold cock and you'll be out. I'm like, if you ever met him before.
So
I know that story.
I know peers would probably be mad at me if I didn't ask because every time we have a CZW guy on or he interviews a deathmatch guy, he always seems to ask. So the infamous Nick Gage, Brett Lauderdale cage of death situation.
Oh God!
I believe you were the referee for the cage, right?
Of course, yep. It was
So,
Ricky Strickland and Casey. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I wasn't at this cage of death. Me and Raver were supposed to be booked, and then we weren't. The typical CZW runaround. Then I get a phone call the day of as I'm sitting at the gym. Where are you? And I'm like, I wasn't booked. And of course, I missed the epic fucking history-making moment. But what were your thoughts when it all went down? Because I know nobody knew, aside allegedly from Giancarlo. DJ apparently knew, but never okayed it.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts when it all went down?
The only thing that I remember, like earlier in the week, I think they were trying to influence DJ to actually do the storyline with GCW and CCW at the time.
Yeah, LowRyda, do you know this story?
No, I was just gonna ask y'all to elaborate.
So basically, this is when Nikki got out of prison. Probably about a year, if that.
If not, probably a little longer.
Oh, when he came out all fucking yoked up.
Yeah, so it's about a year.
Second time.
And
this is the second time, yeah.
Yeah, the second time after whatever, we won't go into
details.
Shit,
okay. I didn't know that he went back to prison.
Allegedly dirty P, but whatever. Okay. He violated parole. Anyway, so he started working for GCW. Lauderdale and DeMonto started it up, and they basically showed up at the end of Cage of Death, got in the ring, without anyone's knowing. Apparently, like Nick said, there was talks about doing it, but DJ nixed it. Everyone nixed it. And the rumor is that a guy named Giancarlo, who was WWE for a little bit, now works for GCW as a production guy, basically opened the back door and said, go do it without anyone's permission. And, it's an infamous story that GCW invaded, and Nick Gage basically made the entire company, he basically punked out CZW. And that, and then Nick was in the ring, so, we'll take it from his side of what went on.
Yeah, we were doing I was raising Ricky's hand. It was kind of the go home spot right there. We were going to fade to black on the iPay-per-view. And then literally to my left corner, I literally see Gage coming in here, ripping the door apart. I'm like, he kind of just whispered over me. He's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, all right, we're done. I'm like, I got out. They kind of did. Yeah, I'm like, I think I'm on the good levels with Nikki on there, so he didn't actually resort to physical harm on me, God forbid, thank God. But I'm like, I went to the aisleway, and a couple of the other referees came up to me. He's like, is this real? I'm like, yeah, it's 100% shoot on there. This was as real can get. I'm like, you saw Lauderdale in the ring, I think, too, on top of that. He was passing out flyers in there and stuff like that. And then literally all the boys just came out from the back, kind of just like, got in the cage. DJ was doing his stuff too. He was getting all, big and bad and on there and getting in Nikki's face and stuff like that. Probably one of the most surreal moments, on there is as real you can get with stuff like that. It doesn't get any more real than that.
Yeah, I mean that I literally got the phone call from Raver like within a half hour probably of it happening, and he was like, dude, you wouldn't believe it, and talking to everybody. And at first the worker in me is like, they're fucking working everybody, and then obviously as time went on, you're like, wow, this actually happened.
Yeah.
To me, everyone's like, that's when CZW died. I'm like, it was going before that, but that
it's way down.
Yeah, I mean that to me was kind of like, that was a big blow. That was like, this thing's on life support and we just put a knot in the fucking hose.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts? I mean, like, were you like, wow, this is really, like, no pun intended, this is a game changer in the area? Or were you just like, oh, okay, like,
It could have been. I'm like, what shoulda, coulda, back then. I'm like, I think that could have been amazing. I'm like, just imagine that tournament of death, and stuff like that, or a cage of death, CZW versus GCW back at that time, on there, because they had, GCW almost had their own talent too, with a few exceptions and stuff like that. That could just been that could have been almost, epic, like CZW versus Ring of Honor, could have been like almost a part 2 version of that, if not better. It's just,
yeah, I mean,
it was basically literally what it was. It comes back to what I said earlier. I'm like, it was just bad business by DJ. That's
Yeah.
literally what he didn't want to do business with Lauderdale, for whatever reason, because he didn't want to swallow his pride.
See, I was always under the idea, and again, I'm hearing it from from DJ, but I was told it was everyone else. And at the time, I believe Sammy was a booker.
Sammy actually booked that shit. Booked that Kaide to death at that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I heard it was kind of the fucking the Illuminati of CZ, whatever the fuck they were, the Brain Trust.
Yeah.
That kind of put the kibosh on it. I don't know, because like I said, my time in CZW was short and sweet, but it is what it is, man. But we're gonna start to wrap it up. So I know LowRyda and Boogaloo like to do any fun stories, any funny road stories, anything that stands out in your mind. Anything that you can think of.
I remember almost getting stiffed by Quack one time on pay, which I didn't really appreciate.
Did you break a door?
No, I should have in that place. I was actually, my weekend actually was, I did a random spot show a Friday night locally. We did Tournament of Death in DJ's parents' place in Delaware on a Saturday afternoon. And then Sunday afternoon, I had to drive to Cleveland for Chikara on there. So I'm like,
nice drive.
That's right. Yeah, it probably sucks. I'm like, why I booked myself on that was beyond to me. But I got to work with Danielson for another time, so
Sweet.
Can't go wrong with that. And then he was actually trying to he's like, hey, Mike, envelope. He's like, house is light a little bit. I'm like, bullshit. You had freaking Danielson on your damn show. It's a fucking lie. So I gave him here's my receipts. I'm like, can I just get all my money for my receipts? And that was kind of almost my downfall with Chikara at the time, and this is 2010. I left there the end of 2011, so that kind of planted seeds right there.
That's a long fucking ride to not get fucking paid. I'd be fucking hot.
Quack was always a weird cat, but yeah, man. Hey, look, we really appreciate you coming on. It's a Wednesday night. I know you're a busy man. You got that 9 to 5. You gotta pay those gimmicks that come in the mail called bills.
I got one more question before we wrap it up.
So,
what's your favorite Kaide Lothbrok
oh Jesus Christ
spot that you've been a part of?
This is actually almost sort of a comedy thing. Because I think, remember the match you worked with Danny Havoc in, I think, the first Hardcore Kingdom? And I think some fan kept on egging me on. I was like, move the trash can. I think Grant looked over at me. He's like, yeah, move the trash can on there. They wanted to put the trash can in place, but they kept on moving.
Yeah, because it was dented from my skull. And
exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not moving it. I'm like, you guys are about to bump on it. I'm like, no, leave it there. It's fine. I'm like, he'll be fine. I'm like, it's not like you're going to, get a concussion out of it.
Yeah.
Why don't we just left it there?
Well, my favorite was when I did the necro bump off the top rope with Raver. It was Hardcore Kingdom 3.
Okay.
And you came over and you were like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I think so." And you're like, "Yeah, that was really dumb." So that was.
I forget some of the audibles I do.
Yeah. There are things that I've said that I've forgotten, and then there are things that you just remember. But yeah, I remember you going. You were literally like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." And then you're like, "Yeah, that was really dumb." So, that was it. But yeah, man, like I said, I really appreciate you coming on, Papa G. I'm the rookie to all this, so I've been trying to get some guys in here to help out LowRyda and Boogaloo. And
we appreciate you coming on, man.
Oh, my pleasure, guys.
Definitely, man. Definitely in the future. We'll definitely have you back on for the future. I'm sure Piers, is going to want to chat your ears off. He's got that CZW replica belt sitting on his mantle. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
If people want to reach out to you or book you or anything, you want to give your info so they can do that.
Yeah, you can actually go to my Twitter or Facebook. It's Ref Nick Papa G on there, or you can actually go and buy a shirt on whatamaneuver.net. I actually just opened up a store there. Got to pay the bill somehow too. On top of that,
go, man.
Do it, man. All you can, brother.
And then where can they catch you at, man? I mean, I know where, but where can they catch you if they want to see the great #1 deathmatch wrestling rep?
Well, the next show you can actually see me at will be this Sunday in the beautiful Showboat Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey for H2O. I'm like, the show will be on IWTV on delay. I think they're going to release it sometime later in the week. On there, and then actually, let me look at my calendar. Next Friday, the 25th, Williamstown, New Jersey for H2O again. On there, we're actually live on IWTV. for that one. It's actually the first steel cage match we're doing
Nice.
on that too, also.
Good shit. Yeah, definitely go give a follow and like to H2O Wrestling, man. It's the premier, in my opinion, the premier deathmatch wrestling company in New Jersey. But Papa G, we appreciate it, man. Definitely.
No problem. My pleasure, guys.
We're gonna get these reads knocked out for these fucking bills. All right, healthvape.com. Health Vape sells healthy vaping alternatives. All their products have no nicotine, harmful or addictive chemicals. So make sure you pick yourself up some of their Vapor Pod products using our code MWA Pod for that 10% discount.
And sleeps.com, man. Sleeps offer quality products from arm sleeves, knee sleeves. Get those stuff. Get in the gym. Tights, headbands, joggers, and I'm sure Papa G's got some of those dirty boxers hanging around somewhere.
I'm wearing them now.
There you go. Head to sleeps.com and use promo code MWAPOD.
Don't forget dick sleeves, man. The dick sleeves are important too, brother.
You know, I don't know, man. You hung like a low life club.
When you hung like Mega, you got to use that 100 arm sleeve, and
there you go.
That's basically what you do.
All right, well, there's the put over King Mega quarter filled for the day.
Yeah, we always got to. Oh yeah, by the way, happy birthday, Mega. You know how we gonna forget his 142nd birthday?
Dude's older than the fucking dirty sleeps in.
But guys, thank y'all for tuning in. Every Wednesday, 8 o'clock, y'all can catch us here. After that, if you ain't catching us live, catch us on YouTube or Twitch on the replay.
Make sure you subscribe.
Watch Nights at the Gimmick Table here. You can watch Shooting the Shit Uncensored, random as fuck, whenever Pierce wants to do it. Whenever he gets somebody. And then you got Killing the Business Fridays at 8 and NXT Roundup. I believe they do Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m.
Australia time or something.
Yeah, no, 8 a.m. for our time,
okay,
like 8 p.m. Australia. So
8 p.m. Kangaroo time. Check it out.
Yeah. But thank y'all for tuning in, and we will see y'all next week or on Friday.
You got it.
Y'all have a good one. Be safe.
Guys.
Thank you, Nick.